wrist, and that fractured my arm, and I had a cast for about 2 months, maybe 3 months. And so anytime I went anywhere, people would come up to me and say, they would see my cast and they would say, Jaish, and they would ask, like, you know, did the soldiers do that to you? What happened? And I would tell them, and they would always ask where I was from, and I said it from the United States, and they always wanted me to go home and tell people in the U.S. what I had seen. And I think because of, like, I had this cast on my arm, I sort of, like, drew a lot of attention from people that wanted to know what had happened to me, wanted to know where I was from, and then said, go home and tell my story, go home and tell the story of my family, go home and tell the story of Palestine to your people. And so when I got home, I just started writing, and I ended up writing just sort of like a small book that I just published, self-published, and then I went on a speaking tour and I talked about 40 times in different parts of the country, just kind of basically anywhere that anyone would let me speak, in churches, in college classrooms, in elementary schools, just people's living rooms. It was a really amazing experience to tell the stories of the people that I had met and worked with the most again and again and again. I felt like that was the one thing that I could do. And so my experience was really interesting. You know, I was injured and spent a lot of time sort of on the front lines, you know, like staying up all night long, keeping watch for these people whose houses were occupied, and doing a lot of press releases and talking to the media about different things that were going on. And at the end of all of it, it was sort of hard to say in some ways what had been effective and what hadn't. And ultimately, when I reflect on it, I know that I formed really real connections with people there, like really strong friendships. And to me, that's the most important thing that I did by going, was I showed people there that there are people who see their struggle, there are people who hear what's happening and feel compelled to go stand alongside them. And for me, that was the most valuable thing that I could offer, was just my friendship.